Hello there. My name is Hiram Choate. I work for iHeart here in Denver. I've been with the company about a little over almost 8 years now. Several years ago, my grandfather passed away. And after the funeral, we were at his house having sandwiches with my cousins, my aunts, and my uncle. And my grandfather had a will that he got off LegalZoom or one of those online companies. But the problem is when the rubber hit the road, it didn't hold a whole lot of water. And I had my aunts and my uncles, my cousins fighting over my grandpa's big screen TV and things of that nature. And honestly, I was embarrassed and I was ashamed of them. And it made it very awkward there as I was trying to grieve the loss of my grandpa. And I decided right then and there that that would not happen to my kids or my family, that my wife and I would have a plan in case the worst happened. So I started working with estate planners. My wife and I got our own estate plan in place. And I've been working with them ever since. Moving into 2021 and beyond, obviously their marketing efforts have to change. We all do. What was true last year or 2 years ago is no longer true, and we need to update our playbook. More and more Americans are working from home, myself included, 20 times more now compared to this time last year. Law firms are not able to do traditional seminars like they did in the past. It used to be that, estate planners would have seminars at a library or different restaurants, things of that nature. They can no longer do that, and no idea when they'll be able to do that again in the future. But with new technology and and more people adapting to technology, it also means that estate planners' potential pool of customers, their clients, has expanded drastically. It used to be they'd only have to be in their backyard. That's no longer the case. Now they can take clients from all over the state and beyond if they want to. The key to advertising and marketing is reaching the right people at the right time with the right message that ignites an action. If we get them after they already have their estate plan done, we might be too late. And we need to do this with a way that we bring people together and make them a trusted resource. It's not about just running an ad in the newspaper saying, hey, we're pretty good at what we do, give us a call. It's not enough. We need to give people good content and earn their trust. We need to show them ways that, hey, we can help protect you in the future and keep you safe and avoid headaches that come in the future without it for people who don't have an estate plan. Americans are woefully unprepared. According to AARP, only 40% of adults have any type of will or estate plan at all. Billions of dollars are spent each year on probate, on fighting, and people fighting in court about who gets what after someone passes away. People who have an existing estate plans need to have their plans updated. New laws like the CARES Act has affected things like retirement accounts and charitable deductions and so on and so on. Everyone's had their financial situation changed in the past 12 months, whether for the better or for the worse, but that needs to be reflected in our plans. In terms of advertising, who do they want to reach? The lowest hanging fruit are adults 50 plus. Those people most likely to need an estate plan, most likely to get an estate plan. But the truth is, any adult with anything to protect needs to have an estate plan ready to go. So how do we get iHeart help these law firms? Whether it's one-to-one or one-to-many, iHeart is there. And the truth is, for estate planning, it's somewhere in between. I said most the lowest hanging fruit are adults who are ages 40 to 75 years old, upper middle class, homeowners, things of that nature. That's the lowest hanging fruit. Now we do this with broadcast radio. We do this through reaching people on their smart speakers, on their smartphones, on their computer, reaching through podcast. And we do this even through television, and that we can target exactly who we want to see your TV ad. And all of this we can measure. We can measure the web lift from broadcast radio to their website. We can deliver the ROI coming from whether it's digital or broadcast radio. And we can make adjustments as we go along. If we see that we get a lot more traction on Thursday and Friday from broadcast radio than on Monday and Tuesday, we can shift more resources to Thursday and Friday to make sure we get the biggest bang for our buck and have that have that plan always evolving. But really, when it comes down to anything legal, it is building trust. Building trust with potential customers, because there's a lot of competition out there. And all of the law firms have good SEO. They all have good SEM. And a lot of times they're running the exact same website because their website was built by all the estate planners' websites built by the same company on the back end. So a lot of times they look almost identical. So how do we separate ourselves and build trust with the community? Radio continues to be the #1 trusted resources of all media, much more so than cable or TV, much more so than social media. Every time I get onto social media, someone yelling and screaming at me, and I get it from all different angles. And the vast majority of the time are people who have no idea what they're talking about and should not be given advice on the subjects they're giving advice about. But listeners trust our radio personalities. Mike Rosen was here in Denver for decades. People liking him the Michael Jordan of radio here in Colorado. My dad always told me that he trusted exactly what Mike Rosen said at all times, because Mike had a comment that for every hour he was on the radio, he did 3 hours of research to make sure that he was informed and educated, and he did the same for his listeners. And when people listened to Mike and who he represented, they knew that they could trust him and the companies he worked with. Because if Mike didn't trust him, he didn't work with them. But beyond the broadcast radio, which is the meat and potatoes of our business, we help customers through digital advertising, whether it's display or video, through geo-targeting, through our various social media accounts, through over-the-top television. And we have an audio plan that's everywhere, whether it's broadcast, streaming, podcast, and we even have companies like AdWire help us create the messaging. And all this can be measured. Web lift, call lift, auto lift in their website, obviously sales. What was true in 2019 is no longer true in a lot of respects. But what is still true is that we all need to have an estate plan and protect ourselves. And there's a lot of people who said only 40% of people of adults have an estate plan. That means there's a lot of green grass out there that can be captured. A lot of clients, potential clients who need help, need guidance. With iHeart, we can help these estate planning law firms not talk about what they do, but why they do it and why it's so important that we can give our listeners good content. We give them good advice, and we can show the ROI on the back end and all the other metrics that show the increase into their website. Thank you. That's all I got.